Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, today I wanted to make up some char, and I want to use 4 different types of materials to make it. I want to use terry cloth, t-shirt material, denim, and then I'll line the bottom of the char tin with some punkwood. As long as I've had this Victorinox Fieldmaster, I have never tried out the scissors. This would be an ideal time to try it on denim, t-shirt material, and terry cloth. I'm not sure that it's up to the task for some of the thicker materials, but let's go ahead and get started. And we'll start our fire today with the red maple set, fatwood barren block, and the grocery bags bowstring. And I want to make up 2 batches of char material. Let's see what these little scissors can do. Here they are. Oh, it's cutting right through the t-shirt material. No problem.
Yeah, we just made 6 pieces, so.
I did a good job. Let's try some denim now. Yeah, but how's he going to cut this towel? And all these are 100% cotton. You need to char 100% cotton. Good. It did a good job. It needs some lube though. Good. And our punkwood. Now, I like to wipe out my char tins before I go to use them. In between uses, I like to make sure that I have a big hole in my char tin so that the gases can escape, because you do not want the gases getting back on the fabric and sort of condensing up in the can and then soaking back into the char material and making it brittle. You see there's some gases that didn't get out. They condensed on the lid. Well, same thing can happen to your char cloth, and it'll make your char cloth brittle. Sometimes it'll make it so bad you can't even ignite it. All right, put some punkwood in the bottom. Now, good punkwood is spongy. You can squeeze in on it and it'll sponge right back out. All right, let's put 12 pieces in. Let's put 9 pieces in, because you do not want to overstuff your char tin. Let's go ahead and deconstruct this one. I think looking at the layers, it looked kind of cool. 9 pieces of fabric and lining the bottom with the punkwood. Let's get a fire started. We've got this red maple set that's been doing really well. Fatwood barren block. I made the barren block end a little pointier, and the hot end shaped it up. Let's go ahead and see if we can get another ember out of that divot with this plastic bag bowstring. We're going to come through the hand, through these 2 fingers here. And we'll leave enough slack in the middle to get a double wrap on the spindle. Then we'll do just a little bit so that everything can drift over to where it's going to ride, which will make it loosen up, and then we'll tighten it up on our leg.
All right, now. Do about 100 strokes.
Well, that was getting stiff. Did we get it? Looks like we have another ember. Good. Good, good, good. Here's our catkins for a coal extender. Once we get these ignited, we're good to go. We're going to be able to get the flames easy. And we'll use pine needles. To get everything started. Good. good hot fire. We'll let it cook. I think I'll put you on time lapse. It's already starting to off gas. If you can see, the first gases that's going to come out are steam. Then after the steam is gone, then the flammable gases will come out. Methane is one of them. After the smoke and the flames are done coming out of that hole, we'll take the can out, set it out to cool. It has to cool completely, and then I'll show you what kind of char material we ended up with. Let me put you on time lapse. All right, the gases have stopped coming out of that can. Let's take it out. You have to let the can cool off completely. If you take that lid off too soon, you could ignite all the char that's in there. All right, we'll put our second can of char cloth on there. All right, while this batch is finishing up, let's go out in the sun and open that lid up and see what we ended up with for char material. There's the terry cloth. Oh, come back here. That's some t-shirt material there. A couple little low pieces of charred punkwood. Looks like it's covered with smoke residue, which you do not want on your char material. But it usually doesn't affect charred punkwood too badly. And as far as your charred fabrics, you want it to be soft, supple, no smoke residue, just like this piece here is. And here's a piece of denim. T-shirt. And it's all soft and supple so far. Let's get to the bottom. This is all great charred materials. Really, really good. This will be highly reactive because I don't see very little smoke residue on it, and nothing is brittle. So this will catch a spark very nicely. I'm going to get set up in the shade, and we'll go ahead and try out some of this and the punkwood. All right, let's try our charred t-shirt material first. Since they're so thin and it's going to burn up really quickly, we'll put it in these catkins. Oh, here it is. That is really thin. I prefer denim, but we're still going to go ahead and tear it in half, try to expose some edges. Line those edges up on top of one another. Use a good sharp piece of chert, quartz or flint. Put it just behind that sharp edge. Leaves are always slow. You have to let them heat up enough to where they'll sustain themselves before you actually drop them into the hobo stove. All right. Now, let's try one of my favorites, denim. Now, when you tear denim, they do expose some really good edges. Oh yeah, a lot of good edges. Put them just behind this good sharp edge here. And I'm predicting a one strike ignite. And something I never use, the terry cloth. Which the only reason I don't use terry cloth, I mean, you can imagine it's great for flint and steel, but it doesn't solar ignite as quickly as denim material. That's the only reason I don't use terry cloth. Tear it in half, and this exposed the most threads of all. There's threads all over the place. Put it just behind that line right there. And this, I'm predicting a one strike ignite. The tag on that towel said 100% cotton. This is not acting like 100% cotton, because all three times sparks went right up into these fibers and ignited them, and the fibers went out all three times. And I started aerating this one quickly, and it did better. So I don't know about this so-called 100% cotton terry cloth. I'm happy to always stick with denim. Now, with all of this wind, something that I never do is cast sparks down into my char tin. I like to lay it up on the table, but that's not to say that I never cast sparks down into my char tin or the lid on my char tin. So since there's so much wind, we don't have a choice. We have to try to contain that charred punkwood. There we go. this one away. And we'll use this one. Really good charred punkwood. Alright, y'all. I really enjoyed this one. 4 different types of materials that we use for charring. And I still prefer the denim, like I told you. You see what happened with the terry cloth. I promise you that tag said 100% cotton, and I also promise you that it is not. So, get out and practice making some of these charred materials. You can also make the steel. I made this steel out of a Nixon file, or you can order it from, I got my first steel ever from Dave Canterbury, and it was perfectly good. It was good and sparky. As a matter of fact, I'd have never started making steels out of files if I hadn't lost that one that I bought from Dave Canterbury. So that's a good one. So, and then take quartz, chert, flint, and you can do the flint and steel. You could cast sparks down onto it, or you can even cast sparks off the back of a carbon steel knife. So, all right, y'all. I appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.